Hello, everyone. Welcome to our newest Cool Kids stream. Here we are reviewing the latest in the Monsterverse cinematic universe, Legendary Pictures Warner Brothers universe for, Godzilla, Kong, and what else. But I mean, you know who we are. You know what we do. So let's just jump right into it. When it comes to Godzilla, I'm gonna say this: Godzilla fans be eating good, baby. Let's fucking go. The newest installment of the Monsterverse is upon us. More schlock, more monsters brawling, more fun, and more inserted human character drama because you gotta throw that in there. Also, I apologize, Mark, but I have to make this joke. If I had a nickel for every movie that came out in March with a third act that featured people on a beach looking out into the ocean that gets frozen by the villain of the movie in the third act, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. Obviously, the acting from everyone was good. I didn't mind the character drama this time around. I was actually genuinely invested in what the characters were going through and reacting to the situation. I know, crazy, right? Only problem with that was I felt that a bunch of plot threads and just were not wrapped up uh very well. They were either like abandoned or just like wrapped up way too quickly. But considering that these movies aren't really about that kind of thing, it didn't really matter in the long run for me. Despite this, I love seeing my boy Dan Stevens, great as always, especially with reuniting with Adam Wingard after their collaboration on The Guest. And if you haven't seen The Guest, watch The fucking Guest. It was nice seeing Rebecca Hall, Brian Tyree Henry, and Kaylee Huddle once again, and they all did a good job. The rest of the acting was relatively fine, not just like a bunch of smaller supporting characters. The CGI was definitely great and illustrious. I liked how Hollow Earth looked, and even the individual characters looked. It was all relatively good. I genuinely I do think it was good, especially when the bar of Marvel is so fucking low that it's in hell. Anything looks good by comparison. Um, but yeah, I just think a lot of the visuals were really captured that like otherworldly nature they were going for, and I really liked that. Which is funny considering the fact this is the cheapest MonsterVerse movie. I think the pacing could have been better, trimmed some scenes here and there, expand on some other scenes here and there, but for the most part, it was okay, but there was a bit of a lull once they get to Hollow Earth, but it wasn't boring or anything because I was genuinely intrigued with the world building of Hollow Earth. The monster brawls were great as always, and definitely a highlight of the film. I mean, where the fuck else are you going to see King Kong batter other giant apes while using a baby ape as a weapon? I mean, come on. That's just fucking awesome. Also, hot take, Baby Kong is cuter than Baby Yoda. Don't fucking at me. Any negative I have is that Godzilla does feel kind of superfluous, especially when it's the character's 70th anniversary this year. I wish he was in it a bit more and had more of a part. As I said, the pacing was a bit off and some plot threads were unresolved, not as well as they should have been. However, I would go so far as to say this was a damn good movie. I liked, I really loved Godzilla King of the Monsters. I liked that a hell of a lot more. It's slightly better than Godzilla versus Kong, and I'm still trying to get through it, but I've watched most of the 2014 Godzilla movie, and it absolutely fucking sucks. And I still cannot understand why fucking people like that movie yet shit on King of the Monsters. But people are stupid, so you know. I just love how we're getting prime level B grade schlock in this day and age that people enjoy because my theater was absolutely fucking packed. So, with all this, this was a good movie. I really enjoyed it. Has some problems, flawed. But before I end my review, I do need to bring up the giant Godzilla in the room. Godzilla minus one. I know a lot of people, especially here, are going to bring this up, and the amount of comparisons are going to be inevitable. I wanted to avoid comparisons during my actual review because I want to judge this movie based on its own merits, because they are two entirely different movies with different forms of execution and different ways of handling their characters. Comparing Godzilla Minus One and Godzilla X Kong the New Empire, and even the rest of the Monsterverse movies, is like, I want to say, comparing a filet mignon to a baconator. Is one clearly better than the other? Yes, absolutely. But do not even fucking try to act like a baconator isn't satisfying as all hell in all the right ways when you get that craving. There is always room for both. It never has to be either or, especially with a franchise that is celebrating 70 years of existence and has gone through more phases and weird shit than the James Bond franchise, which is almost just as old. Just like how there is room for both Timothy Dalton and Roger Moore, there is room for both highbrow entertainment and B-grade schlock. As a great YouTube comment once said, a truly cultured gentleman should be able to enjoy and appreciate the $1 hot dog just as much as the $100 steak. And with that, I do give this film a 7.5 out of 10. Rob, you have the floor.
Okay. All right, then. First of all, let me say that I don't have a review written down, so I'm just going to have to wing it. I've had a very exhausting day and all, so but I'll try to do what I can. So, Godzilla X Kong. Let me state that I don't hate the Monsterverse films. I'm indifferent to them. I mean, Godzilla 2014 was kind of meh. I love Kong Skull Island though. That's probably my favorite one. King of the Monsters, all right, and I couldn't get into Godzilla versus Kong. So with this one, I was not really too excited about it because I kept thinking it was going to be a little bit worse. And even the trailers didn't win me over. No, I'm not going to compare Godzilla to Godzilla Minus One because you're pretty much comparing apples and oranges by that point. So I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna try to be as fair as possible. With that, what do I think of this? Yeah, I mean, let me say, I don't hate this movie. I don't hate it at all. So, it's whatever kind of thing. Let me get the positives out of the way. Yes, I do love the world of Hollow Earth. The fight scenes are a lot of fun, and I do like that little monkey ape character. But with that, there are also some things that did bother me a little bit. I still could not get into the human characters. I found them boring. The pacing was dragged, and I honestly, I felt like Godzilla and as well as Mothra were both underutilized. They seem to disappear from it seems like they're only there for when the plot requires it. So it seems like they're hardly in the first two acts and only show up during the final fight. And honestly, I just felt like they could have been used way more. And honestly, I mean, maybe John might be able to explain this a little bit more, but why is Godzilla trying to work with the humans and fight other monsters? It doesn't make any sense to me. It really doesn't make any sense. I found that very stupid. It's just like there are so many plot holes and all. I know I'm kind of quick about this. Like I said, I don't have a review written down. I had to wing it. because I'm exhausted from a long day today. So, in conclusion, I don't hate it. It's just kind of meh. And with that, my score is a 5 out of 10.
All right. Quick rundown of the other films. The first one I actually remember liking a lot with Godzilla 2014, but now in retrospect it does feel a lot worse because it's pretty much what I call the Gareth Edwards formula. Cock teasing us with the characters we want to see. Arrow, Godzilla, how we use Darth Vader, and how he's undoubtedly going to use the dinosaurs with this Jurassic World film. And then Kong Skull Island is my favorite one, which might be biased because I'm a Kong fan more than Godzilla. But I liked how we were seeing something new with King Kong instead of telling the same King Kong story that we already know. The island, Empire State Building, all that. I like that we were seeing something new. The King of the Monsters, I actually still like a lot. I like that there's more monster action, and I think the human characters, use a little bit better. So I still think pretty positively on that movie. It's much better than the other one. Then Godzilla versus Kong, I remember liking a lot, and I guess in a way I'd say I still do like it. I'm just pissed that they freaking bait and switched us. They promised us a versus movie, but in reality, it's actually a team up against another threat. I hate that trope in what they tease as versus movies. This is why Freddy versus Jason and Alien versus Predator are still the best versus movies. So now we come to this film. I was not excited for it. I didn't think I was going to like it at all. I thought it was going to be more bait and switch, and hearing some of the less than stellar reactions from everyone here, or at least from the ones I'd seen, I didn't know what to think of it. But I watched it yesterday, and I really liked it. This might be the most that I have enjoyed these movies since Kong Skull Island and King of the Monsters. What I really like, just getting right into it, right off the bat, I think the film's biggest strength is allowing for there be to fully be scenes with the monsters and there be no dialogue. It's all through their body language, the expressions, and the visuals. All the scenes with Kong and little mini Kong. Those were the best scenes in the movie. Just Kong in general. Fucking loved Kong in this movie. Like, holy shit. This is the most I have liked Kong, at least in this particular universe. And even the human characters, I kind of like King of the Monsters. I actually didn't mind the human side of this too much. I think it dragged some of the movie, but it wasn't enough to ruin it. And yeah, even though the third act pretty much rips up Frozen Empire, excuse me, um, yeah, it was a lot of fun. Talk about throwing the kitchen sink with the action. No, no, no. They're throwing several kitchen sinks at us. The fact that they're literally throwing buildings at each other. So they're throwing hundreds of kitchen sinks at the audience. So, yeah. But overall, fun movie. Is it my favorite of the series? I could see this being either second or third best because, it's up there with freaking King of the Monsters and Skull Island. I could see this, growing very well on a rewatch. So we'll just have to see. But it was a fun movie, great action, a lot of great, character related moments, mainly with the monsters. So yeah, I'd say go see it for a movie that I did not think I was going to like at all. For me to enjoy as much as I actually did, yeah, I'd say this is the biggest surprise of the year so far for me. So I'll go the same grade as John. I'll go 7.5 out of 10. It was very fun.
I apologize for the weird positioning. Mark, do you want to go last? Because you usually like to go last. Okay, so you go, Jay.
So, everybody here, I really am I'm the odd one out when it comes to these Monsterverse movies. Like, never saw Godzilla 2014, saw Godzilla King of Monsters, thought it was okay. Was really hyped for Kong versus Godzilla because I am a King Kong fan. As a fellow monkey myself, I have to support my fellow monkeys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay, you said it, not me. So I can't be. You fucking said it. You know what? I can't be canceled for that. You said it, not me. All right. None of us said it. You said it.
It's fine when I do it. It's fine when I do it. Hey, I had to make a joke. I mean, come on. We're talking about a freaking giant monkey. Yeah, but I was really disappointed with Kong versus Godzilla because they fucked over Kong. Kong should have won that fight. I don't give a shit if Godzilla has fire breath. And then I saw Godzilla -1. Was not interested in seeing it until my friend dragged me to see it. Loved it. I actually loved how they made me give a shit about the human characters. Thought Godzilla was actually a very omnipotent threat for once, and loved it. Thought it was a nearly perfect movie. Then I heard, and then directly after I saw -1, I saw the trailer for Kong X Godzilla: The New Empire by the same friend who dragged me to see -1. I told him straight up, this movie looks stupid. This movie looks very, very stupid. And then, of course, I got dragged to see this movie 2 days ago, and I would say it's okay. Didn't really have any like. It's a dumb action film. I mean, what did you expect? It's basically like Venom. It's a dumb action movie. If there's any positives, I would say that anything with Kong was interesting. I liked seeing him. Like when it's Kong by himself, it's interesting because there's no dialogue being spewed, and you can tell what's going on, and you understand what these gorillas are feeling. Whereas the humans, Jesus Christ, why did they give Rebecca Hall that goddamn haircut? The child, the deaf child, I'm gonna be honest, I don't understand why they gave her some weird psychic ability to be able to communicate with I don't understand. Like, was this child was she in Kong Skull Island? Like, what the hell? I think the biggest positive is that we do not have any of the human characters from the Godzilla movies because they were the weakest part of both movies, and it was even more insufferable in Kong versus Godzilla because Godzilla's human friends were just straight up boring. They were boring. Whereas King Kong, it was actually somewhat interesting because Kong and humans go well together. They mix properly. Yeah, Godzilla was barely a factor in this movie. He was only there because he's only there because his name's in the title, and he does his own thing. And when the plot needs him, he's there. When it doesn't need him, he's off doing some weird shit. What else? I mean, I liked the action. I like that there wasn't some dumbass romance between Rebecca Hall's character and that weird Australian guy. I like how the pacing wasn't that long. I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of grasping at straws here, but yeah, this movie was fine. I didn't really find it offensive. I mean, it's just a dumb action movie. Yeah, but yeah. My score is a 6 out of 10. As a monkey, I approve. Woo!
I didn't mean to interrupt you there. I thought my mic was muted. My bad. Anyway, Mark, it's your turn to bat.
Okay. You were saying that anyway, there's a quote from the movie where one character says Kong can't stop this on his own. Another character says he won't be alone, but he should have been, because that would have been a much better movie. Godzilla x Kong, the overly long title, isn't a bad movie. It's at least an improvement on on the big disappointment that was Godzilla versus Kong, but it could have been a much better one. I didn't expect much from this film, and that's exactly what I got. Not much. Still, if you keep that in mind, it's fun enough for what it is. The most obvious flaw is one you can guess, the one that's plagued the Monsterverse films from the start, namely the human characters suck. Just like the rest of the films, spends a good part of at least the first hour focusing on them and their search for whatever it is in Hollow Earth that's wrong. Some bullshit, I don't even know. Something about funny looking signals. The first half switches back and forth between them and Kong, who soon discovers Baby Kong, or as I prefer to call him, Diddy Kong. When it's focusing on Kong and his budding relationship with Diddy Kong, it's good. Such as when they fight Crackhead Kong and his gang of crackheads. That was a lot of fun. When it's focusing on the humans, it's bad. Dan Stevens Trapper comes across as the idiot love child of Magnum P.I. and Ace Ventura. The annoying idiot love child of Ace Ventura and Magnum P.I. Brian Tyree Henry's conspiracy-fueled Bernie is okay for what little he's given. Rebecca Hall's Eileen is just there. And Kaylee Hoddle's Gia is the chosen one. They're not terribly interesting as a group. Nothing is done with them, and they serve no purpose but to slow down the plot. They're really just more the plot device. They're there for plot exposition, and that's the problem. The big problem in this film. They should have just shown the backstory rather than just spending the first hour of just building it up, because it makes the first half of the film incredibly slow, much like my review is going right now. But it would have been, and because of that, we don't actually get to see we actually don't really get into the meat of the plot until the second half of the film. We finally see Scar, the Scar King, who is actually really pretty badass. He's actually pretty cool. So he's actually pretty cool. So, and he, so that's a big problem with the film. It would have been far better I think, to have just shown the backstory rather than having to do an expedition dump, having her explain it. Just show it right from the beginning, and then we could just boom, get more faster right back into the action. So that way we see what's going on. The least obvious flaw here. But once again, it's going to have to say it's a lot better. The least obvious flaw is one we probably didn't expect. Godzilla is hardly in this. Mothra even makes an appearance, and she has about as much to do here as Godzilla. She's there at the beginning. He's kind of goes off to the Arctic to fight some kind of pink dragon, and he becomes, Barbie Godzilla, or as I call him, breast cancer research supporting Godzilla. And to power up to go fight this threat, and then he shows up at the end for this big fight. And they throw in some dinosaur, Shimo or Shlomo or whatever the fuck its name was, the white dinosaur, the ice dinosaur, who's supposed to fight Kong. Not Kong, but I mean Godzilla. So why they chose to hide that as if it were some kind of secret, I don't know. Maybe I missed that in the trailers. If they did, I don't know why they would kind of keep that a secret. I mean, just show it in there, kind of give him as much time anyway. But either way, I think this would have been a lot better if they had just made it a King Kong film, because the King Kong parts are actually really, really good. And you could do that with King Kong, because since King Kong is an ape, he's much more relatable to us. He's more human. He can communicate. He's through hand signals with Gia, and through sign language with Gia. And so this would have made this a much more interesting film to focus more on him, but it does focus a lot more on him. So we do get less of the humans, I have to say, than we did in Godzilla versus Kong. They're still there. They're still bad. But at least once he gets to the end with the big fighting at the end, it's a lot better. It's a whole lot better. So the second half's a lot better than the first. There's still a lot of weird human stuff in there, which doesn't make much sense. But the fighting is good. The fighting is enjoyable. It's a lot of fun. So even though it did pain me to see them destroying the fucking pyramids as a history fan. So that was painful. And I even every time Godzilla goes in and out of the Roman Coliseum, like, fucking be careful, you fucking T-Rex, overgrown T-Rex. But anyway, I have to say, when I got out, I thought it was kind of meh, and I think it's kind of in the kind of middling. But you know what? It looks better on retrospect, so it's okay. So I'll give it a solid 6. It's decent. So I'd say like a low rental or maybe a low matinee. So
all right. This ain't double toasted. Get the fuck out of here. I'm just kidding. But I did want to say before we move on, our buddies Rome and Devin could not be here because they are off having a life or too tie, which is totally fine. But Rome's rating, at least on Letterboxd, was a 2 out of 5. So I assume that equates it to at least a 4 out of 10, or even maybe a 4.5 out of 10. I don't know specifically, but that's what I'm going to go with. And then Devin clearly stated it was a 5 out of 10. So, yeah. Also, Jay, I apologize, but this is what you get for messing with my boy Dan Stevens.
That's the way you want to, you little shit. Fine.
You don't fuck with Dan Stevens. Nobody fucks with Dan. No, you don't. Better watch your goddamn.
Gaston fucked with Dan Stevens.
You okay?
Dan Stevens.
Emma Watson fucked with Dan Stevens.
Who the fuck is Dan Stevens?
Get educated. Go out. Fucking learn.
Wait, is he the Australian guy?
Well, technically he's British, but he put it. But I think he put on. I think it's supposed to be Australian. But yeah.
Do you want to say hi to?
I didn't say he was a bad character. I'm just saying, like.
Yeah. Okay.
If you just like think of this movie like one like Dragon Ball Z, but with animals, it makes it so much better. Because like Godzilla goes from Super Saiyan Blue to Super Saiyan Red. Godzilla ends up
Super Saiyan God.
Super Saiyan Godzilla. The only thing missing is Godzilla's crazy hair.
I would have loved to see that. That would have been fucking hilarious. But yeah, Dan Stevens. Don't fuck with Dan Stevens. I'll give Mark a mini Phantom Zone because he also messed with Dan Stevens.
All right. I didn't know you had a crush on Dan Stevens. Jesus.
I love Dan Stevens. I love him so much. Notice me, senpai. Notice me. Anyway.
All right,
but yeah, I really enjoy this. I do definitely think it's a step up from out of well, okay, so I honestly don't even fucking count the first Godzilla because it's so different from the rest of the Monsterverse that it's like honestly, it kind of should be its own thing in a way. Because I feel like it kind of soft rebooted itself with King of the Monsters. Because that was the first Monsterverse movie I watched. And I got what was going on. I didn't need any. So I feel like I'm going to say Godzilla, the 2014 one, isn't canon. That's my head canon, because fuck that movie.
But King of Monsters is considered a sequel.
No, yeah, I know it is a sequel, but it's like the way that they did it, there's almost no characters that transfer over with the exception of Watanabe, who dies, and then Sally Hawkins, who also dies. So they don't really, have a ton to transfer over. And then on top of that, there's nothing else except for the fact it's Godzilla. Like, there's new villains, new characters. There's not a ton that carries over. So, like, honestly, you can view it as its own thing. That's like Kong Skull Island's the real start, and then you get to King of the Monsters. Because, like, it's just like the fucking, like, tonal shift from the 2014 movie to the rest of the Monsterverse is just so fucking weird that it's just like I feel like they just doubled down on the much better stuff and we got good shit out of that. But I mean, I haven't seen the whole movie, obviously, because like I still have like 45 minutes left of the movie. Maybe then it'll become the greatest fucking thing since sliced bread that everyone like fucking was jerking it off when it first came out. I think the only reason people gave like the first Godzilla was like, oh, it's better than the Roland Emmerich one. Which is like,
That's
okay,
low bar.
that's a low bar. That's like saying the shit I took last night is better than the shit I took the night before.
I mean, that's like saying Netflix Avatar is better than the live action movie. I mean, it's
not
better.
saying anything at all.
That's like a fucking low bar to pass. And even then, even if they did pass it, that doesn't mean the Netflix version is fucking amazing. It's ass. It's ass.
Honestly, it makes it worse because it's now fucking 8 hours of bullshit rather than just 2 hours of bullshit.
And I already said, M. Night Shyamalan, as much shit that we gave him for that movie, surprisingly did some things better than the fucking Netflix show. Surprisingly. But we're not here to talk about
let's
M. Night
not get
Shyamalan.
too heavy-handed on
We're not here to talk about M. Night Shyamalan.
yeah, so Rob, what were you asking me about with Godzilla? Was it like how he, fights for? He doesn't really. He kind of does and kind of doesn't in the, in Godzilla movies. Like,
Yeah.
he just I feel like that like kind of weirdly works. I feel like what they did with Monarch here and Godzilla was they just like monitored him, and I think like. What they kind of did was essentially what they kind of did in the Showa era was where Godzilla just fought monsters. That was it. Like he kind of sort of became the protector of the Earth, even though that's not really what he was. He's just like it honestly felt like in a lot of like the sillier movies, it's like, oh, you're fucking up the Earth. No, that's my job. Fuck you. And then he like fought them. That was essentially the older Godzilla movies, like after the original film.
He just wanted to be the king of monsters, basically.
Yeah, so like he just wanted to fuck shit up on his own and not have to deal with these other assholes. So yeah, that's kind of what it is. I don't think he was really working with the humans. He's just like, I want to fight this giant spider crab thing. I'm gonna go do it and ruin half of the art of the historical architecture of Rome.
Yeah,
just fuck y'all.
Yeah. I mean, I know Mark has a history with movies fucking with the pyramids, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
I was gonna say, don't forget. I was gonna say, don't forget Transformers.
Oh yeah. Unironically, those two both had Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah. We had Napoleon as well, and but yeah, it.
What is it? When I was Shia LaBeouf in the fucking pyramid.
When I was watching that's the opening scene with Godzilla fighting that monster, I'm like, oh, fucking Mark is probably pissed. He was probably fucking pissed watching this thing. And then when they hit, and then later on in the movie when they were fighting her, I'm like, oh, please, for the love of God, don't hit the pyramids. And they destroy the fucking pyramids. I'm like, oh, why'd you get like, okay, fine, Rome is one thing. You can like kind of rebuild, but like fucking up the pyramids. I'm like, oh, guys, come on, man. Why you got to do that? Why are you massacring my boy?
I would have given the movie like an extra point if it did have Millie Bobby Brown in it, because she is the love of my life. So, but
I'm glad she wasn't in. She overstayed her welcome in
Godzilla
vs. Kong.
She did. Yeah.
And then I'm glad she wasn't in this because her fucking character was annoying as fucking Godzilla vs. Kong. Like I'll say, like I don't hate human characters as much as everybody else does, but I will admit she was fucking annoying in the last movie.
I will say though, like her track record is like not really that good.
She's like, horrible.
Like
she has a horrible agent.
Like Damsel, that movie looks.
Yeah, I've heard Damsel's fucking terrible. I've heard that's really bad.
Why is Angela Bassett in that movie?
I think she's just collecting paychecks at this point. She's
but
like,
come on, bro. Like she is an Academy Award. Sorry, an Academy nominee. I can't say award because fuck you, Jamie Lee. But why is someone her as talented as her in a dog shit movie like that?
It's just like people. It's like why like fucking Robert De Niro does like Bad Grandpa, or whatever the fuck that movie like
Dirty
whatever
Grandpa.
like Dirty Grandpa, Bad Grandpa, whatever the fuck that movie was called. Like it's just they're having fun.
But that's
they don't
Robert De Niro, bro. Like Robert
they don't
De Niro.
They don't give a fuck. They don't gotta prove anything. So it's like yeah, whatever. I don't give a fuck. But yeah,
that's Robert De Niro. I don't think he would mind doing stupid shit. Angela Bassett, I feel like she would take her work pretty seriously as an actress. So like, why would she do something stupid? Oh no,
What?
John! Don't take off your shirt. You're wild. You're wild. The woman or the late. Fuck! I fucked up the joke. I fucked up the joke.
Yes, you did.
I'm sorry.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Like,
but yeah, I like I will say it was definitely on brand, like that you guys were saying, like King Kong was like the real focus, because that's what Adam Wingard wanted to do, was that he wanted to make, because he said like Kong is a more relatable hero than Godzilla, because well, and the fact Godzilla is like treads the line between hero and villain, while like King Kong was like the misunderstood beast, where he was just like taken out of his home and like forced to be an attraction sort of thing, and he fell in love with the human girl and like all that. So he's like that misunderstood kind of like weird, like almost gentle giant in a way, like depending on the version, obviously. But but
I don't know why he needed a fucking infected tooth. That was kind of weird.
What was it?
I don't know why he needed a fucking infected tooth. I don't know why that was a little weird.
I guess it was like
it was just a way to get him up there. I guess
he's a human monkey. Yeah. He's a human monkey.
Yeah, pretty much.
I will say I love that. I fucking love that scene where he's just beating the shit out of the crackhead monkeys, and he just fucking grabs the baby ape and just starts fucking like what other fucking like that was like might have been the best fight scene throughout the whole fucking movie.
For an Adam Wingard movie, I mean, the last time I watched a movie by Adam Wingard was Death Note, so this was a major improvement.
I was gonna say that's a low bar, Jay. That's a low bar because we know how that ends.
Well, I mean, he did Godzilla versus Kong, which is pretty good. As I said, he did The Guest. If you haven't seen The Guest, watch The Guest, because that's a fucking amazing movie. And then he also did. He directed the only good Blair Witch movie. Blair Witch, the movie that came out about like 10 years ago.
There's a good Blair Witch movie? What you talking about?
Yeah,
Willis?
I know. Crazy, right?
2016 version.
Yeah.
What you talking about, Willis?
It was the sequel. It was the threequel. It was the.
Oh, I know which one. Yeah, I know which one. Yeah, but I was like, "What you talking about?"
Not Blair Witch Project, just Blair Witch. And that one was actually fucking decent. That was actually good. Like, oh hey, congrats! You made a good Blair Witch movie.
That's so goddamn dog shit.
It was.
Like as an anime fan, like what? Like why couldn't you? Why did they whitewash everybody?
Pretty much.
Well, except for L, because he's not whitewashed, he's blackwashed. But like they what? Like why?
Because it's an American fucking production. They're obviously going to cast the majority actor, the type of actor.
You had Willem Dafoe as Ryuk, and you didn't utilize him.
And don't forget, Jay, how much they ruined Light's character. And
I feel like Adam Wingard was like a director for hire on that. He's like, hey, you want to do this movie? He's like, all right, I'll get paid. I feel like that's less his fault.
I think it's easy to understand why, though, that these movies decided to not come out the same opening weekend, because with this and Frozen Empire. But yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, my theater was packed, as I said. Like, my theater was fucking packed to the brim. Like, I almost couldn't find a seat. Yeah.
Mine was relatively packed for mine, because, I mean, mine usually isn't that packed. But that was about half the seats were full, and that's kind of...
mine was fairly packed, even though I saw it, like, Thursday afternoon.
I was packed. packed with microwave-made popcorn stuff in my face while watching it at home. I was totally packed.
I was in an empty theater with my friends.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is, I think we can all agree this was a step up from Godzilla versus Kong. Even though I like Godzilla versus Kong, I thought it was pretty good.
I like Godzilla versus Kong. It's kind of like how Halloween Ends advertised itself. You advertise it, you show only one thing in the trailer to make you think it's gonna be that thing, but it's something else.
I mean, you knew that in Godzilla versus Kong, you knew that they were going to team up and take down the bigger threat. Zach.
I didn't even know
It's basically Batman v Superman. Like Batman.
I mean, that's
Batman
what they did with Batman versus Superman. It's like we'll punch for a bit, and then we will fight Doomsday, and then
But like at least
Superman immediately
BVS
died.
did a better job doing that because we all knew that Batman and Superman, them fighting was not the point of the film. It wasn't the point of the film.
Exactly.
I mean, it's called Dawn of Justice. It's literally the subtitle of the movie title.
Which
we all knew.
Zack Snyder didn't want to call it, but sure.
But like, yeah, like BVS, and there's a reason why it's called BVS and not Batman versus Superman. It's the V is like, but it's about ideologies, not just straight up.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, I'm fighting Batman.
It's a challenge between them, exactly. Yeah, and the thing is, like I said, I called it. I said, Batman will win the physical fight. Superman will win the moral fight. Superman won the moral fight. He made the moral point.
Even then, though, Superman should have kicked his ass. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
But he had prep time, Jay.
Hey, that's the fucking reason. Batman has become so goddamn overrated. Every fucking time I hear Batman with somebody, they always goddamn say, with pet time, with pet time, with pet time.
Jay, it's fucking comic. If a guy can shoot lasers out of his fucking ass and fly, yes, we can imagine a guy who's so fucking smart, he can think of a way to beat everybody. I mean,
even Doomsday.
Yes, I agree. He's the most unrealistic character. The guy can speak 30-some languages. He has equivalent of like 32 fucking PhDs. He speaks dozens of languages. He knows like something like 200-something martial arts, several of which he invented. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ.
That's the thing that's so funny about it. I'm sorry if I cut you off, Mark, but like
no,
I love how like when people are like, "Oh yeah, Batman's relatable because he's human." It's like, is he? He's a billionaire who can fucking do a trillion fucking things, peak human condition, fight literal gods with prep time and fucking win. Like, is he because he has no powers? No, his powers are whatever the writer imagines it to be. Yeah. Like, if he wants to circle jerk Batman, he'll be the most powerful god on planet fucking, like, oh, he survived the fucking Mobius chair. Fucking bullshit, all right?
Like, I like Batman, but whenever people say, oh, with prep, like, I saw on Twitter, oh, can Batman beat Spider-Man with prep time? Motherfucker, Spider-Man, if he didn't hold it back, he would kill Batman. He'd kill him. He would kill him.
But he does hold back. That's the thing.
We can all agree, though, about BVS. It would only get better from there.
Or Goku. Like, if he were to fight Goku, Goku would kill him.
I love BVS. Would kill Batman. Watch your mouth. But yes.
No, I like BVS a lot, too. But yeah, I like BVS, too. But
Justice League is better. I agree.
Yeah.
It's not even...
that's
not even the best Justice League movie.
But I like it only for the extended cut, because the theater cut's a freaking incoherent mess.
That's not an extended cut.
We don't talk
That's
about that.
A completely different fucking film.
We don't talk about Justice League. We talk about the actual. Like Zack Snyder's Justice League single-handedly became one of my favorite comic book films of all time.
Like,
and the fact that I can enjoy a 4-hour movie and not feel the length pause, that's like impressive.
It took me 5 days to watch it, and I'm like,
here's the thing: I'm
never watching this again.
I don't even have the 2017 one in an ironic sense. Like, I just got the real one.
But yeah.
Yeah,
Godzilla. Remember him? Anyway.
Yeah, a lizard versus a monkey.
Yeah, like and what's so funny? I remember when Godzilla versus Kong was coming out. Everyone's like, "Oh yeah, Godzilla, Godzilla, Godzilla." It's like, honestly, why not Kong? I love Kong. He's the American one. Why is everyone going to the Japanese one? He's the American monster. Why is everyone jumping Godzilla's dick?
Kong should have beaten Godzilla in that fight. I don't give a fuck. If Godzilla has a goddamn atomic breath, Kong should have won. He should have won. All Godzilla has is a fucking atomic breath and claws. Godzilla has knowledge. He's more mobile.
Do you mean Kong? You said Godzilla.
I said Kong. Kong's smarter.
You said Godzilla by accident.
Oh, I'm sorry. But Kong should have won that
never
fight.
mind. Anyway, sorry,
It was
continue.
bullshit. It was bullshit. Kong should have won that fight.
I have a different reason for that. I say Kong should have won the fight because Kong is more relatable as a character. Kong is more sympathetic. It's easier to sympathize with Kong. Godzilla is more like a force of nature. Like he represented clearly the atomic bomb in the original Godzilla film. He was a force of nature. That's it. But I mean, in Godzilla, Kong has always been more of a character. I mean, he was the most sympathetic character in the original film. Jesus, the humans were the villains. If anything.
Well,
I mean, yeah, that's what, as I said, that's what Wingard was kind of going for, because he's like, yeah, King Kong. He's like that. He's the real hero of the Monsterverse because he's the relatable one. He fights for humanity. I mean, they literally say in this movie, he was the apes were like the protectors of humanity, while the Titans were the protectors of nature, and then Mothra was specifically the Iwi tribe. So I liked that like nature of it, and I like how like they kind of had that like Wonder Woman moment where Mothra comes in. He's like, "All right, gentlemen, stop fighting. Let's fight the main
I thought
threat."
Mothra died in the last one though. What was?
Yeah, but she's been reborn a lot, like in the movies. Like she's a butterfly. She could it's like comics. It's like
exactly.
Oh yeah, Barry Allen's dead. Meanwhile, 23 years later, hello.
Look at how many times Optimus Prime has died and come back from the dead. I mean, come on.
Okay, but there's an all right, but like the Matrix of leadership. I mean, that can revive him.
Exactly.
He didn't help him in the animated movie.
I can't lie though. I can't lie though. In the original Transformers movie, like in the 1980s, that Rise of Optimus Prime, I can't lie. That scene that gets me. That gets me, man. That gets me right in the feels. I'm not even that big of a Transformers fan, but I can't lie. That's a good fucking scene.
Meanwhile, Rome is like, the fuck did you just say? Rome loves his Transformers.
Also, I want to say, are you going to read Devin's review?
He didn't write a review.
He didn't.
Rome and Devin didn't. That's why I just said their ratings. They never wrote one.
I mean, I didn't write a review either, but I just tried to wing it just because I was busy the last couple days.
I mean, is there
I was halfway finished with mine, or at least most of the way finished with mine. But
I mean, is there anything else left to talk about? I feel like we kind of.
I mean, I really there was a lot of. I liked Trapper as a character. I thought he was funny. Again, not just because I like Dan Stevens, but like I just thought he was a funny character. I liked him. Rebecca Hall was hot. Always.
Not with that haircut.
By the way,
haircut.
Okay. By the way, I do want to mention something. While I was giving my review, Renee actually she was listening to everything I was saying when I was talking about Godzilla. She literally texted me and just said, "It's them ripping off Reptar from Rugrats."
Oh God! What are you doing, Jay?
I'm fixing my shirt.
He's showing off his fit.
I think she was hearing what I was saying.
I'm fixing myself.
We don't need to see that shit.
I really liked Hollow Earth. I liked what I love when they open up that like closed off area. That was really fucking cool. Like I liked the crystals and all that shit. I thought Brian Tyree Henry was really funny. I thought the girl was good. Like I hope she like kind of becomes something like because I thought she was really good here, and like she did a lot with the fact that like she can't talk, so that should, I don't know, I feel like that means something a little bit. But yeah, I liked the characters here. I know maybe I'm a stupid boy. I don't know, but
I like Brian Tyree.
I'd say Brian Tyree Henry. I think he's an underrated actor. So
Yeah, just watch the Child's Play remake. He's great in that.
watch Watch Causeway. He is excellent in that.
yeah, I remember. Yeah, that was the one. I kept forgetting what the name of the movie was, but yeah, he got nominated for that.
Plus Mark, I think you might appreciate this. He was actually he was born and raised in Fayetteville.
Who's that?
Brian Tyree Henry.
Oh, cool. Oh, yeah, that's right. He was. Yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, I didn't realize that the girl was actually deaf, though. That makes sense. I thought she was mute. I didn't realize she was actually deaf.
Maybe they'll put her in like a new A Quiet Place movie. I mean, utilize
that could work. But yeah, she's only done the 2, Godzilla movies. But I hope she becomes something like. And I mean, if she doesn't want to, obviously she doesn't have to. But like, I don't know. I just think she like the fact that she only has like 2 movies to her name. I thought she did a good job here. Like especially okay. So you have like a child actor, and then on top of that, you have someone who's deaf. So like that shows like some sort of talent. So I hope she focuses that talent and hopefully becomes a big name. But only if she wants to. Obviously, not forcing. But yeah, I don't really have a ton more to say. I think these are fun, like movies that are like schlock that you turn your brain off, you enjoy, and they're ridiculous and fun. I don't think it should ever be an either or situation in terms of like highbrow entertainment versus this. I think there's room for everything, and I will genuinely believe that.
If they keep this streak going with how they're doing Kong's character, again, I fucking loved him in this, then I might like this interpretation of Kong more than the original classic story.
I mean, yeah, it's a blockbuster version of Kong rather than a, the original story. But yeah, anybody else have anything to say?
Look forward to the better Warner Brothers release coming out this summer.
What's up with the Jack Nicholson impression there?
The sequel.
I like Turtles.
Sounding like a real straight shooter there.
Okay.
King Kong ain't got shit on me.
Yes.
Ew. Gross. Okay.
Well, what did he do?
It did. I don't know. He's showing off Toy Story 4, maybe to piss off Jay. I don't know.
No, it was Twister.
It was Twister, and then now he's showing off Toy Story 4. And I'm like, okay,
I didn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, okay. So in terms of our next review,
it's ironic that we talk about
keep it with the monkey theme, and Devin is going to be hosting Monkey Man, the Dev Patel movie. Which apparently had a lot of fucking shit behind the scenes that they had a lot of trouble with shit. Hopefully it warrants a good movie because it looks fun.
Yeah.
But yeah. So next up we're doing that.
And then after that we'll be going back down memory lane with our stream for Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Mm-hmm.
So
cool. If you know, but all I'll say is ouch.
Yeah, we'll be getting into that, but that's about it. This was our thoughts on Godzilla X Kong the New Empire, or as many in this stream wanted to call it, Kong the New Empire. But yeah,
rip off of Frozen Empire.
No.
This stream is sponsored by Trojan Condoms. Get your condoms and make sure to use protection.
Practice safe sex. Anyway, on that note, remember, big monster.
once again we have brought light into the world. You're welcome, America.